what we go through or where we come from or what we are, I'm proud of it.
Hello and welcome to Holding Heritage. This is a space to explore and have honest conversations around the Asian North American experience. We'll focus on Canadian refugee stories, family, heritage, and bridging generational gaps. My name is Holly. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello and welcome to the first Exploring Roots episode. In Exploring Roots episodes, we're going to focus on real refugee, immigrant, and childhood storytelling directly from refugees and immigrants themselves. The first story that I'm super grateful to be able to share with you is my dad's, Sinh. If you've listened to episode 2, you'll have already briefly met him and heard a few of his memories, but in this coming 3-part series with him, I'll guide you through a more detailed account of his early past and experiences. So in today's part 1, you'll see into what it was like for my dad growing up in North Vietnam as a young boy, and a few of his major childhood memories and experiences. So without further ado, let's dive in and I'll set the scene for you. It's a weekday evening. We just finished having dinner and sat down on the couch in the living room. The sun has already set. I've got a hot cup of tea and my dad sits comfortably on the corner of the sofa, glasses in his hands, and heels extended and stretched out straight onto the coffee table. My dad's name is Sinh. He was born on the northeast coast of Vietnam, in the province of Quang Ninh, where Ha Long Bay and Ha Long City are located. So to specify, as of right now, Quang Ninh is a northern province in Vietnam. Ha Long City is the capital of that province. Within the city is a commune called Cao Thang, and within that commune there is a neighborhood that is known to the locals as Nui Se, and that is where my dad and his family are from. In the 1960s and 70s, when my dad was growing up, Ha Long City was not yet established. The nearest town to his neighborhood at that time, about 1 hour walk away, was known as Hon Gai. In 1993, Hon Gai merged with Bai Chai, a tourist area, which then created what we now know today to be Ha Long City. So that turned Hon Gai today into a ward of Ha Long City. If you'd like to see visually where I'm talking about on a map, you can head over to holdingheritage.com and check out today's episode show notes where I've posted maps and further context.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Nui Se. That time, few hundred people. Mostly it's farmland. Right? The house is not much. And that time, they still fighting between the north and south, right?
My dad was born in the mid to late 1960s. Like many others from this time and area, they don't know exactly when they were born since there weren't any birth certificates or anything like that. So the most accurate information that many have are the memories of their parents and their families as to the day and month that they were born. Many of my dad's early memories as a child and young boy were of having to hide out from American bombings of North Vietnam. He remembers seeing many explosion craters left from bombs and farmland around his neighborhood and many makeshift bunkers and shelters that families like his would go to for safety.
Our area too, especially at the farm, and every family have to make their own bunker close to the house. Families, one is bigger, so you have to build one that fit your whole family. So most bunker is just beside your house. I mean, back then nobody understand how safe the bunker is. But now we think about it, I don't think it's safe at all. It's underground, but only the roof is above ground.
Okay.
So I guess it's only safe if the bomb don't hit it. It hit somewhere out, and then the
debris.
The debris is safe from the debris. That's all. The bunker is built out of bamboo tree for the roofing. Well, there's no special roofing for it. So whatever people can gather, they just cover it up. Right? Even rain is water all over because you just dig a big hole. So people kind of nervous. They don't feel safe in their house. So everybody kind of scared. They run out of their house if the plane come. And those years, there's no school. I supposed to go to school 6 years old, but it was bombing that time. So most of the time we don't stay at home because we are afraid. So we move into a lot of places.
My dad spent many of his younger years moving around to a lot of different places of hiding outside of their neighborhood when the bombings were most frequent. My dad said that my grandmother would take him alongside his 6 siblings up to different remote areas for weeks to months at a time, having to carry food in daily by foot through small trails in the forest to make sure that they were fed. During this time, many adults still needed to stay back in town to work and provide, so it was mostly just the children taken to these shelters for extended periods of time.
This one year, I remember one of my uncle built a bunker up in a mountain, on the side of the mountain. It's quite big. This one quite big. It's underground. Only the roof is above ground, and we stay there a few months. Most of the time, it's only kid can stay there. Adult have to go home and work. And many times it's rain. There's a lot of waters there, and we have to use bucket to get the water out.
So you were living in the bunker?
Yes, and we basically live in the bunker. Yeah, there's nothing to do. I mean, no light, no electric. There is some oil lantern.
Oil lantern.
Yeah, we can use that at night, but daytime we can go out. But it is kind of really scary. Even now I think it back. Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it sounds scary. How long were you living there for?
Sometimes couple weeks, sometimes even a month, because it depends in the situation, right? If there a lot of bombing at that time, then we go longer, right? And sometimes the bombing stop for a few days or even a week or even a month. So if there's no bombing, then we allowed to go back home.
I asked him about some of his memories of his childhood houses growing up. The first one he describes was a house built by my grandparents before he was born.
First house, yeah, that one is old. I remember the roof it built out of those really long, tall grass, and we dried them up, really thick, many layers of it.
Yeah.
So the water won't go through the frame of the wall. So you take bamboo tree and just split it up into thin and then make it into a frame. And then you use mud mixed with grass, and then you make the wall. The floor is dirt, really dark. That house is the first house that my parents built. Then the second house is better, built out of brick, but the brick is built out of mud to make the wall. And so the second house is a bit bigger. And then my parents built not a house, it's like a place to manufacture noodle. Okay, we make the noodle for the government, for the local government.
I remember the summer of, I think, grade 5 or 6 for me. My parents took my brother and I back to Vietnam for the first time. My recollection is a little bit hazy, but I distinctly remember being brought back to my dad's third childhood home, the one that he just referenced having been built by my grandparents to be a space where they manufactured noodles. So this house was the one that they left behind to flee the country as refugees. I remember my dad telling me that this was considered a big house and was special because it was made out of concrete, which was not easy to get back then. To give you context as to the actual size of this house, when I saw it in person, I remember young me standing in the middle of this house. It felt like an empty bedroom of nothing but gravel and dust, and I remember asking, "Where is it?" My parents chuckled and said, "This is it." There were no lights, barely a door, blank, broken down concrete walls, and that was definitely one of my first moments of intense culture shock as a kid.
And we have a big tree. It's a
Star
star
fruit?
fruit tree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's right
Outside?
outside our house, and it's really, really big. Each year there's a lot of it. When it's ripe, it looks really nice, and a lot of people walk by. They want it. Sometimes they will ask, and they will buy. Some kid, they will try to steal them. They will use a rock to throw and then hit the food. So yeah, it's really, really nice. Yeah, I remember a lot of time I just go up there and sit up there. I get used to it. I can go up really fast. I have a couple of friends go up there and we just sit there and talk, watch people walk by.
As my dad mentioned earlier, his family made noodles. They built the concrete house to work and live out of. So, since at that time there was no such thing as private business, everything was done through and for the government. So, essentially, my grandfather, who had never gone to any school before, self learned enough to set up and run this noodle process. What would happen is the government would give a certain amount of flour and supplies to my dad's families, to which the entire family then was responsible for hand making and producing the noodles, which included everything from making and mixing the dough, shaping the noodles, steaming them, drying them, packing them, and delivering them back to the government for distribution to the residents of the neighborhood and some other surrounding neighborhoods. My dad recalls an early morning routine that him, his siblings, and some uncles had to do once a week, which was delivering the finished noodles to the government warehouse.
No, we have to take it to them too, but it's quite close. That place is like a warehouse.
Yeah.
They sell rice and noodle for the resident there. I remember every week we have a wagon, but we don't have horse, we don't have cow, so we have to basically pull and push. So we have to do it early in the morning. The warehouse not even open yet, so they do that, and then I have to go out there to sit there to wash the noodle, so nobody steal them. Right after they go home to get another load, so I have to stay there, and it's still dark, like 4 in the morning.
You just sit there
and
alone?
I'm scared, really scared, and that area, local people have a rumor that there's ghosts there, and yes, it is scary. It's dark and there's no light, no street light at all.
My dad was just a small kid, and at that age wasn't particularly strong enough to help physically push and pull the wagon full of noodles, which is why he was often stuck with the duty of noodle watcher. When my dad turned around age 9, he was finally able to start school. Originally, he would have started school around the age of 6 like other kids. However, due to the years of bombing and having to hide out for safety, he couldn't start as planned. And the schools in the neighborhood didn't run classes during those more dangerous periods anyways. So there was my dad, around 9 years old, and finally getting the opportunity to start kindergarten. His kindergarten classes were held in a small bunker that was made for the kids.
Yeah, so I start school 9 years old, just kindergarten. And I remember I started my kindergarten in a bunker. They built a bunker for kindergarten. It's only one bunker. But luckily in the class, there's 2 or 3 other people, same as my age, same situation, and they are Chinese too. We kind of still feel really awkward in there. Yeah, they look very young. I mean, 6 or 7 years old compared with 9 and 10, right?
After kindergarten and to start grade 1, my dad then moved to a different local school that was known to the locals as the Burnout School because it was bombed previously and then reopened for classes.
It's been bombed and it's burned out, so local people don't even call the name of the school. They just call Burnout School. Even now, if we go back there, we ask the Burnout School, everybody know. Because that school, they built on the side of the mountain. It meant to kind of hide from the bombing. But somehow, they bombed there. I don't think they meant to bomb the school. But up on the top of the mountain, there's bunkers for the army.
Oh.
They set up a bunker up there. They have cannon there. They said they protect the town and protect school. So I guess that's why
Like maybe they're aiming
they
for
got
that.
bombed. Yeah, maybe, and they aim for that, and then they missed. Starting grade 3, then I moved to a school close to our house, the Baker School. And I always want to go to that school because it's just beside our house. Everybody go to that school, have to walk through our house. And the school is very big.
So, this larger school that my dad is talking about was really close to their house. It was right on the main road that every kid had to walk through on the way to school. So, every morning and afternoon, he would see many students walking right past his house. My dad's eldest siblings were already of working ages at that time and out of grade school. So it was my dad and Yi Guma, who is one of my dad's older sisters, about 3 years older, that went through most of the same school experiences during the tough years before having to flee the country. During those years, tensions between China and Vietnam were increasing, building up to the border war between the two countries in 1979. So my dad recalls how the attitudes of Vietnamese classmates and neighbors seemed to change around him.
So, Vietnamese people start to change the way they talk and the way they treat us because we are Chinese. A lot of people, they don't want to have anything to do with us. Before, there was our neighbor, our friend, but suddenly they stop being your friend. They don't want to talk to you. It is changed. For me and my sister, when we in school, yeah, there's a lot of a sad memory. The kid in school, they're teasing us. And in that area, there's quite a bit of Chinese families, like 20 families. But most of them are older than me. In my age, there's only few. The kid in school, they always tease you, always ask, oh, why don't you go back home? You're still here. So why? And you're not welcome here. And they give you a name. They make up that name for Chinese-Vietnamese people, right? So they call người Việt gốc tre. Người Việt, it means Vietnamese, but root is bamboo. Vietnamese, but you're Chinese root, right? But they don't say that. They said bamboo root, right? So it's just to kind of tease you and talk mean to you, right? Go to school every day, and kid will tease you, especially when there's recess, it's lunchtime. Those time is the worst, because almost to lunchtime, you're afraid, you're scared, when you go out, and they will keep doing that, right? Kid will run back and forth your face and say that to you. Right? And you say, oh, why don't you go back to your country? Why are you still here? And
would you just kind of stay quiet, or would you?
Because at that time you can't do anything. If you fight, you're gonna get into trouble, right? And then your family and stuff like that. So you can't do anything. We don't want to go, but we have to. If you don't go to school, then your family might get in a lot of trouble, right? But even at home, same thing. Even those before, our neighbors, our friends would come to us for help, borrow rice and noodle, and then suddenly they just kind of changed everything. Nobody want to come close to our house. Nobody want to have anything to do with our families. Every week, they will have government harass us and say, well, you should go back to your home country, this and that. Yeah, it's just they don't want you to leave. They want you to get out of the country, right?
This next story, my dad opens up about a really emotional experience with his younger sister. A couple years younger than him, and according to my dad, a beautiful little girl in so many ways. The way she looked, spoke, dressed, acted. And she was unique in that she always wanted to look her best. She'd ask my grandmother to buy her pretty clothing and makeup when really nobody even had things like makeup back then. She loved to be well put together, unlike most of the kids her age who would mainly ask for food and toys. My dad and Yiguma, which again is my aunt who is about 3 years older than my dad, spent a lot of time taking care of her since they were close in age.
I used to have a younger sister, older than Boso.
Really?
Yeah, she's about 2 years younger than me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's really pretty. She really pretty. She like to make up even she's young.
Yeah.
So at that time, I'm not sure how old. Maybe I'm 10 years old, and she 8, and she like make up, and she like nice clothes.
Yeah.
Every time Mama go out, all she asks is that buy her nice clothes, dress and stuff, right? And she really nice in the way she talk, and everybody like her in the neighborhood. Everybody like her, and we make noodles, right? We make noodle, and after you make noodle, you have to steam them. Steam them noodle, and after steam them, you put in dry. Right? So to steam the noodle, we have those big wok, okay? Those big wok like this. So you fill the wok with water.
Yeah.
And then you put the noodle like those tray.
Yeah.
Like the one mom do those one, but just big bamboo tray, right? Stock up with noodle and then steam them. In Vietnam, there's winter, summer, and thing, right? So in winter time, it's really cold. So normally in the winter time, when we in the morning when we brush our teeth and wash our face, we use hot waters. Right? And that day, it's just fate. Right? Can't tell. Normally, every morning, my sister Yiguma is the one wash her face and use some hot waters mixed with cold water and wash her face. And then that steamer, that big wok with the hot waters, normally after we steam the noodle, we take the noodle out, then we take the wok out and put it on the floor so they can add more charcoal into the fires, right, to make the fire. But every time we do that, they take the wok down, they have to add cold water into the hot water. Yeah. First we call it hot. Secondly, because we need to add more waters and then to steam again, right? And that day, me and Ikuma and her was in there, in that area where we use the hot water to wash our face, right?
You use the water from the wok?
Yeah, we just get some hot water from the wok and then add some cold water into a small pot so we can wash our face, right? So normally, Yiguma is the one who wash her face. But that day, I don't know why I want to wash her face. Okay, so I said, okay, let me wash her face. So Yiguma let me. So I pick up the towel, the face cloth, and I want to wash her face, and she don't allow me. She don't want me to wash. And then I kind of go toward her, and then she back up, and she back up, and then she fell into that water.
My dad's eyes brewed small puddles of tears as I slid over the sofa cushion to rest my hand on his shoulder in comfort. I cannot imagine the magnitude of emotion and trauma. It's not your fault. That must have been really scary.
Yeah, so she fell in there, but that water is not 100% hot water because they always add some cold water to it, right? So, wow, of course, she in pain, right? And me and Yukuma there, and we don't know what to do. We're still kids, and the walk is big, so we just shouted, and then people come. I think my auntie is the one closer to her, and then pick her up, and she will cry, and stuff. We have water well outside, right? So I said, wow, okay, put her into her well. With cold water is help her, right? And they said, no, you can't do that because if you do that, then all the skin gonna pop, right? So take her to hospital. So she was in hospital with my mom. My mom there 24/7 and with hers. And at that time, the hospital is not equipped with things like that, right? And then her back, the whole back is burning up, so she can't lie back on her back. So she, and then
so her whole body or just
the back, the whole back, right? Yeah, it's painful. When me and your Yukuma go see her, then we know because she in hospital with my mom for quite some time. I don't know how long, must be a month or so.
So while my dad's sister was staying in the hospital with my grandma staying by her side all day and all night, there was one day in particular that my dad and Yiguma wanted to go visit her. At that time, kids weren't allowed to go just visit the hospital on their own, so they went to go look for a family friend and asked her if she would show them the way and take them to the hospital to see her.
So we go there and she take us up to the hospital and we go into her room and visit her and my mom there and look at her. She can't lie on the bed, so they let's see, what is it, they let her kind of sleep on a rack, like those,
he points to the staircase railing of slatted
there,
wood across from us.
More tight, and with her front, and her back is all. And we look at her and say, how are we gonna survive that? Is like, and then hang her up on the middle in the air. But when we get in, well, she's okay. Like, she's still, she knows us, and I believe she even can talk with us too. And my mom said, yeah, today she's getting better. And it's kind of everything normal. And then we stay there for a little while, I don't know how long, hours or whatever. And then we say, yeah, we have to go home. And as soon me and your Yiguma get out to the door, she died.
Do they know what happened? Like, I guess they don't know.
They don't know at that time. Yeah, as soon we not even past the door, and then my mom called us in and said, well, and then she died right there. Oh, and then me and Yiguma cry, and then they don't allow you there, right? So we have to go home, and then we cry so much we couldn't even find a way down. Yeah, and I remember when finally we got home, and then she was still up in the hospital. Family's member have to go and bring her home, right? And then do whatever burial. And I remember my dad didn't do that. Somehow my dad asked my uncle to do that, to go to the hospital and bring her home. And I remember we didn't do anything because they said when a little kid die young, you can't do a burial, or you can't.
Why?
I don't know.
From my research, in very traditional Chinese funeral rituals, when an infant or child dies, no funeral traditions or ceremonies are to be performed since formal respect is not to be shown to a younger person. A parent may not perform funeral planning or ceremonies for their own child, so an unmarried person is to take the body to a funeral home. Because of these funeral rituals, infants and children are to be buried in silence, and no ceremonies are to be performed whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't do anything.
What happened to her then?
Well, just kind of buries, really simple burials, eh? Not even a nice coffin, like, and take her up to the mountain is where it's really close to the school I told you about, and bury her in there, close to where my grandfather buried. My grandfather buries this side, and then she over the other side. And I remember I go to school there almost every day. Lunchtime, I go there and kind of play there and look at hers. And then nobody take care of her grave because there's about a little kid is nothing. You don't have to take care, right? And then year after year, it's kind of got flatters because of rain. And there's this one time I remember I go there and I remember either some kind of animals digging a hole there too. And then one day I go there and didn't see a grave anymore. And I tried to look and didn't find it because they built a new road, and they just pushed her away. Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Have you talked to Guma about that, or like the family? Like, did you guys talk about it?
Well, I talked with Yiguma, because Yiguma there with me, right? So she feel the same what I feel, and the day we went to see her, she still remember. I think this one years, a long time ago, I talked to her, she still remembers. After that incident, Mama, she mad at me for many years. Well, but then after a few years, she kind of go and ask those people, Chinese masters, this and that, right? So ask those people, and they said, it's not your daughters. They said, they tell Mama, they said, it's not your daughters.
Really?
Yeah, she's from up there, and then that is her time to go, and she have to leave. So after that, then Mama kind of get better, and she. But after that, I always have dream about her.
Yeah.
Well, nice dream, not bad. I always kind of see her wearing a white dress, and not much. Just kind of see her, and kind of really peaceful. Yeah, every time I dream about her, see her, there always water involved.
Do you still feel like you blame yourself for any of it?
Well, not anymore. I don't blame myself anymore, but still, every time I think about it, I still kind of feel really sad. Sad for, sad for what happened.
Yeah.
Before I do blame myself, why I do that. If I don't do that, then she don't die. But then after people say that, Mama said that, then she get better, and then I kind of, maybe it give me a reason not to blame myself anymore. Or maybe it give me a reason to feel better. So you kind of believe, you believe it is fate, right? It's time for her to go, then she has to go. Of course, not from here, she's from upstairs.
Upstairs, like heaven.
Yeah, she's from heaven. Heaven sent her down. And then it's time for her to go back. And of course, it's not a good reason, not a good reason. Very painful for her. I mean, something like that happening is painful for the whole family. So.
Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, not much people know about her because she died so young at that time. And nobody wanted to talk about it.
My Dad, you've been through so much. Been through so much. You're so strong. Really, 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 really strong.
Yeah. Sometimes I think, wow, our family goes through a lot of stuff, a lot of sad things.
Yeah.
Well, I think our families, they don't want to talk about the past, and especially the sad thing, right? And they think, well, everybody know already why you want to talk about it. Okay, but for me, well, before I don't talk about it, right? But this few years I talk more and more, and each time I talk, I feel better. Well, it's not better, but next time I talk, I feel kind of less and less and less, and maybe.
Well, what made you want to? What made you? I mean, because I know you never wanted to talk about stuff before, but like what made you want to?
Well, not that I don't want to talk before, but before you guys was still young, you might not understand, right? And then when you guys grow up, yeah, you watch TV, listen to people, and then you understand more when we talk, right? But of course, we want you to know what we go through and where we come from. We want you to know. It's no shame where what we go through or where we come from or what we are. I'm proud of it. It doesn't matter how poor you are, but as long that's the way you are, that's the way you brought up your family. What shame about, right? It's not poor. Poor is not a shame thing. So I'm okay with it. I talk about it.
Yeah.
And for us, I don't care if I'm Chinese or Vietnamese or whatever. I don't see a lot of difference in it. But all I know is that my parents Chinese and I was born and raised in Vietnam, and I like Vietnam. I like born and raised, right? Until they don't welcome us, and we have to go. We have to go. That's why even now I still like to go back there and visit. Yeah. I don't mind. Actually, I like to. If you give me a choice to go to Vietnam or go to Europe, I'd rather go back to Vietnam and China.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a memory there. So I know those memory is not happy, right? It's not good memory.
I feel like it can be really scary to, some people don't even want to think about it. They don't ever want to go back.
Yeah, they some people, they just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They just want
that's
to
what I mean.
Put it aside, right? But for me, a memory is a memory. Okay, happy or sad or bad or good is all memory. And bad or sad memory keep you think more. For me, I think those is more deep memories. It's hard to forget. Yeah, I don't know why. I keep those memories in my heart. But for me, I think it's good to have those memories. It's not easy to have, but when you have those memories, it's hard to forget, and I don't want to forget those memories. Even each time I think about it, it's hard, but I think because it's true, it's true, it's happened to me, it's happened to my family, and it mattered to me and mattered to my family, right? it's important. I think it's very, those memories is very important to me because I've been there, I'm part of it. Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about it. They don't want their children to know. I understand why, because a lot of adults said, well, my life is hard. I've been through that. I don't want my kid have to go through that, to suffer. But of course, nobody wants the kid to suffer, to go through that. But for me, I think it's good thing to let them know what I've been through. And then I say, okay, yeah, you will never have to experience that because you're here, so you have a good life. But still, I want you to know, yeah, that's what we've been through, and I have experience, so I don't want you to go through, right? I don't mind. I think it's good to let them know where people come from. Everybody have to have a place.
Yeah, I think so too.
Where they come from and their life story. But we've been through a lot of people never have chance to go through.
All right, so this is where I will end part 1 of this 3-part story with my dad. I hope you've enjoyed this episode if you've gotten this far. The second part will be a lot about my grandfather and how he was put in jail and lots more interesting stories. So please remember to tune in to that. Something I'd like to leave you with today is a message from me to you, and that is that I know firsthand how intimidating reaching out to connect with our parents can be. Sometimes people will say to me things along the lines of, oh, you're so lucky your parents are so open with you. And yes, I feel so grateful that they are, but I also really want to say that it was not always like this. In reality, actually, if you knew me even just a few years ago, I honestly would have considered myself not a family person. And the connection and relationships that I have with my parents today and continue to build and improve on have taken a long time for me, starting from zero. I have put a lot of time and effort and practice of grueling frustration and patience into it. And so I just want to say that if you're out there thinking or feeling like you just may not ever get to that point of connection with your parents that you'd like to, I would love to just be a little reminder that maybe it's possible, that maybe it takes a lot of work and effort and practice, but I can also tell you that I'm pretty sure it's entirely worth it and that you will never, ever regret doing it. So, all right, that's enough for me. I will see you very soon for part 2. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to check out the show notes at holdingheritage.com and share with me your thoughts because I would love to connect with you. Bye! Music by Blue Wednesday. Be sure to check him out. He's amazing. And as always, Holding Heritage is created, produced, and geographically based on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded lands of the Tsleil-Waututh and Comox nations of the Coast Salish peoples.